please direct all our guests upstairs. It's time to start the program. Direct all our guests upstairs. It's time to start the program. Yesterday, we put it by saying we made an unofficial announcement of a program that's going to be working hand in hand with our Ngugi panel session and discussion. That was around about past 4, but because we were all tense, rushing down to the open mic, we were unable to get everyone acquainted to that program. So before we start the Ngugi panel session today, we want to take a quick glance towards a program that's also integrates into what we are doing on this stage. That's a discussion and panel session. We have Audio Book Swap in the house. Yesterday we announced Audio Book Swap, that is a platform where you bring your old books and you exchange with the new books. This is to refresh and update our libraries. Individually, we all have our libraries at homes, and if you check our library right now, the books we have, they are still the old books. The books we have read. The books we have read and over again. So this is a platform to update our library. This is a platform to have a new books in our library. This is a platform to promote literacy without spending $1. So imagine a platform where you get to have a new books every day without paying an error. All of before we go to the stationery, we go to the book vendors, we need to pay a token amount of money to get a book. Well, now we have Audio in the house ready to partner with the Ngugi session, whereby you update your library every day, whereby you have the access to have a new book without purchasing one. So, cameraman, I will want you to join me as I direct all the guests in 5 or 10 minutes to the Audio stand, where we'll be learning about how to integrate updating our libraries, and getting new books for our libraries. So, Mr. Audio, are you ready? Mr. Audio, are you ready? All right, so if our leg is not busy, can we just stand for 5 minutes? Please, I also want to take there's a sofa there so that the chairman can sit on for a 5-minute session with Audio Book Swap. This is going to be integrated with our program, so please just stand up and join me as I lead everybody to this stand for 5 minutes to learn about how to update our library, to learn about how to get the new books without purchasing one, to learn about the significant and important. So, Chama, please sit down. No. Only the Chama. Please sit down. Thank you. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. So yesterday, like I said yesterday, we introduced the Audio Book Swap. The aim is to update our library. The aim is to get more access to books without purchasing one. So Mr. Audio is going to give us 5 or 10 minutes of what he does and how we can be part of this benefit. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tolani, and this is my brand. As you can see, we have like a section for book, and we have section for like products. And the reason why we are part of the festival is because we do a regular book swap. We do like a book swap anytime we have like a pop-up. So it's a regular thing that we started for like a while now. And it started in the park. So we come here every month, where people just come. You come with a book and you go with a book. You don't have to buy any book. So if you come with like 2 books, you can go with 2 books. So it's just like a awareness and to promote people to start reading like a physical book, because we are in the digital world. A lot of people would rather read PDF, but I feel like this is way cooler, just reading like hard copy. So this is an avenue to promote more people to read and, and build a community, because a lot of people here are probably just seeing this for the first time. I have like a group where like we talk about like books. So if anybody is interested to join, I could get your email, and on a regular basis you will get like a message where we'll meet and you can come around and hang with us. So even aside from book, we do a bunch of other stuff when we hang, like playing games, talking about arts, so anything connected to book basically. So yeah, you can see the products are here. I don't want to talk too much about the products, but you guys can always check us out on Instagram. It's just skincare basically, perfume, body oil, bar soap. Yeah, that's everything. So yeah.
So thank you very much, Mr. Tolani. So like I said earlier, the aim of this is to update our library individually. So I commissioned everyone yesterday to come with a book. Do we have anyone who came with a book today? Okay, already. So we have someone who's a book. I am that person again. You already saw already. So yes, so the aim of this is to update our library. You have old books that getting destroyed, no one to give it to. Why can't bring one book and get a new one you have never read before? So instead of you be looking for, okay, I need to pay 5,000 now, 15,000 to get a book. Here we have a free book to swap with your old books. And we are also promoting and contributing to the community of literacy. Thank you, everyone. So you'll be seeing them often from now to the end of the festival every day. So I tell everyone, when you are coming tomorrow, make sure you come with your old books that you know that you have read. Bring it here. So another person can, and the aim of this, if you look at it here, is like we are in a circle. When you bring a book you have read, someone has never read that book, you drop it, you take another book. Someone says, I wanted to read this book. Do you understand? I don't have the book. Right now, I can read this book. It's like a circle community. So we help ourselves to grow. We help ourselves to acquire the knowledge. We help ourselves to have understanding. Thank you very much, Mr. Tolani.
For the just to end this. So I know a lot of you guys probably have like books that you don't need anymore, that is just rotting in your house. You can as well donate, because like I've had people in the past come and be like, oh, I love this book, please can I have it, what can I do to have it? We kind of like give people free books as well. So if you have books that you're not using at all, you can donate. It's going to be helpful for other people. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right, so we can now go back to the Ngugi session. So thank you very much, sir. So we've learned that the aim and the significance of literacy, we are promoting literacy in all we do, and we try as much as possible to see how we can get everyone read a page a day. According to the doctor, said an apple keep a patient away from the hospital, right? I will say a book keeps you away from being an illiterate. Yes, so when you have a book, you get communicated to the community without even stepping out. Now let's dive directly to what we have for today, which is the Ngugi session. And today we'll be discussing two powerful books, The River Between and I Will Marry When I Want. If everyone follow the trajectory of how we start the panel session from Monday, you realize that we select these 5 books because in one way or the other, they synchronized. We started with something known as Petals of Blood. And today, we are trying to look between two rivers and a kind of an affirmation of saying, I will marry when I want. And I said something yesterday that this is more or less of negating the custodial understanding of our parents, picking a spouse for you, saying that I found a man for you, I found a woman for you. This is another word. In the world of Gen Z now, that we want to do what we really want. So, bringing some panelists here, I want to say, should we, as a Gen Z, say, I want to marry what I want? Or should we still need to, adapt to the custom, the tradition of our parents that I can pick a partner for you. This is the best for you. So I'll be bringing in the moderator for this session. Join me as I welcome Mr. Lateef Odetunde. He was also the moderator for yesterday's session. He stood in for someone who actually had an emergency. So that was why we moderated the session. Today is actually his own session, but because of an emergency, he has to just stand in and moderate for the person. Thank you for Mr. Odetunde. So he's going to be introducing the rest of the panelists. And one of the panelists will be joining us online too. Mr. Ludovic will be joining us online. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome here today for the Ngugi session. We had a very nice ride yesterday where we discussed Petals of Blood. So today we are going to be looking at two very interesting texts together. Deliver Between and I Will Marry When I Want. The most interesting thing about these texts is that they are even written 12 years apart. They are written 12 years apart, and one is set in the colonial era, one is set in the post-colonial era. So how does this come together? How do they sync? I don't know. I don't even know why the two books appeared, for discussion. But in literature, the intention does not matter, does it? It does not matter. We just have to do the justice. So I will bring it on stage the panelists. So join me as I welcome Ayeni Taiwo.
Recording in progress.
You're welcome. All right. Also, another thing I don't know. There are two things I don't know today. The first is why the river between our marry when I want are paired together. And another thing I don't know today is why this man here and his twin brother are supposed to be on this panel. Join us and welcome Ayeni K. Give them applause. I don't know. Okay, and we also have someone online. That's Ludovic. Ludovic, please, is he on board already? Okay, not yet. Okay, so once he's on board, just call my attention. Thank you. All right, you're welcome, Taiwo. You're welcome, Kennedy. I'll make it very easy for you guys. This is Taiwo, white. He's a good man. This is Kenny, black. Whatever the kind of man you think he is, because of his clothes. That's the definition. So, we'll be taking this discussion from where we stopped yesterday. Right? We are discussing the same man, the same person, and that means you will always see a touch of his former work, of his past work in the new ones. Do you understand? They always, there's the connection is always there. And that is why I asked that final question yesterday. That final question was intentional yesterday about, individual effort and collective effort, bringing about liberation in Petals of Blood, using the character of Munira and the character of Karega, right, in Petals of Blood. So today we are looking at two books. So I said we are going to be taking it from where we stopped yesterday. So we'll be looking at the concept of individual effort again and collective effort, but this time around in two different books. Okay, if you look at Deliver Between is set in the colonial era, right? And we have a character, his name is not Wayaki, Kaboni, yes, thank you. We have Kaboni who believes that their way of actually fighting the colonial masters or to have liberation, is to bring arms together to get guns and fight and riots and all of that. And in that same text, we have Wayaki who believes education is the way to liberation. There's no other way. Okay, that means in that text, if you look at the text, in that text, there is someone, or let me say there are two people, who are the voice of the people in one way or the other, and they are the ones calling for Liberation. But now let's come back to our man when I want. We have the character of Gikemba. Okay, the character of Jikunda rather. Jikunda, yes. We have the character of Jikunda, who in the text is not like Wayaki and the other guy in the river between. In our man when I want, he's just there to talk. I think his character is just there to talk, some senses into the minds of people like Koi and all of them. Okay, he's just there like that. He's not trying to do anything. He's not trying to fight for anybody. He's just there for that awareness. Okay, now, the question is this. Do you think Ngugi changed his method? Okay, the river between is the first test. Comes then, I'll marry when I want, 12 years after. Then we see a development of characters who bring about awareness about liberation, wanting to mobilize people, to gather people to fight against oppression. And what do you call it? Gikemba, who is there just to talk. In fact, one of the comments his wife, Ngugi, made is that you talk too much. You've used your mouth to scatter this place again. Let's go. Let's be going home. Do you understand? So what can you say about the difference in this concept of characters in both texts? Taiwo, you can go first.
Hi everyone. My name is Taiwo Ayeni, like you know. I want to answer your question based on the fact that you said, is there a development in his thoughts, chain of thoughts, if I'm correct, right? To me, I felt there's no change in what he's saying. His message is one, and his message in the two texts still remain the same. I think one of our classes in the university, we were talking about how we have split character, how a writer splits himself into diverse. Achibi is not actually Okonkwo. He's also in his friend as well, Okonkwo's friend. So he splits his character into two to let us see the two aspects of things. Which one do you think, as a reader, do you want to judge from? Are you judging from this side of me, this belief of me that is being triggered by something? Or are you looking at me from this angle where, I'm peaceful and I'm looking at it from a bird eye view and I'm trying to analyze the process? So for the likes of Wayaki and Kamboi and Wayaki, I would say they have the same orientation. But the way Wayaki perceived the orientation from the start, I think one of his friends, I think is Kinuati also. The names are always difficult for me. Sorry. So his friend came to him and says, the same thing you said, the wife in I Will Marry When I Want told the husband that this your mouth will kill you. Guess what's in Rivers Between? Yeah. The friend says your name will lead to your ruin. And the truth is that Wayaki does things out of patriotic. We want to fight. These people we want to fight, we don't know anything about them. We don't know what weaponry they use. We don't know how they were easily to come to us. They got our land without fighting us. And you want to fight them. Do you know what they have in stock? So it was like, let's look at it from a critical art view. Let us study these people before we go to war. Let us know our enemies. Once we know our enemies, we know how to attack them. So it's no wonder. I think when I read Rivers Between and seeing that it was eventually arrested after publishing I Will Marry When I Was, it's no wonder, because people were like, you did it in Rivers Between. We were like, this is where you want. You are using Mahu as these guys trying to treat. But I Will Marry When I Want, what excuse do you want out here? No Mahu, no distance. But you are now direct that this is even post-colonial. Yes. And you are now shouting there is a need for, as in, there is a need for revolution. So my head was like, I think the leader was not like, yes, Mahu war was preached because Wayaki was defeated in Rivers Between. Yes, in I Will Marry When I Want, Baba was not defeated.
Okay, so wait. You think Mahu war came about because Wayaki was defeated. So it was I struggle to
Kamau.
It was Kamau who brought about Mau Mau.
Yeah, you know, he couldn't, Wayaki, after preaching, having the hearts of people known as the Messiah, and I think for a fact, we know that in Rivers Between, we were made to see that there are two Messiah.
Yes.
The identified one and the unidentified one. Wayaki got to a chain of thought and it was like, who is the real Messiah? Is it the one that can change the hearts of the people or the one that can move the people to do what they want? And the truth was, Kamau and Kaboi, even having understood that it comes from the parts where the people's will, that's the oath. You know, when they mention the oath, even Wayaki died down. The oath is simple. Chase these people out. We don't need them. They corrupt us. They corrupt our culture. They corrupt what we stand for. So that same language, that same thoughts, expand in all his, I think it's virtually all his writing. And if you notice, I will remind you what I want, it's not even in English. Let's say you want to sugarcoat it. Yes. This one is in their Kikuyu language, right? Yes. So it was plain and it was clear that we need revolution. And the revolution we need is not using gun, it's our head. We need to tell our head something. We need to tell ourselves the truth. So
that's what the character of Jikemba stands for.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
2 cents on that.
Okay, first, good day everyone. My name is Kenny. Right. This guy resides in Lagos. I reside in, I school in Ekiti though. So that's
the guy. Okay, this one.
That guy.
Okay.
Okay, not to bore you of that. Sorry, I'm struggling with my voice. According to your question about the revolvement of Ngugi, I feel Ngugi did not revolve, right? It's just preaching the same message. But as time goes on, Ngugi is someone that we should just not call a writer. Ngugi is someone that has his message from beginning of his play to the end of his life, the same message. That is you looking inward to yourself and you appreciating the Africanness in you. And one identity of it still remains your language, everything that describes you. Now, in the issue he was treating at the River Between, it's quite different from the issue that he tends to treat in Our Married Where and What. And if not anything, Ngugi is a practical person. So much so that he did not always dictate for us. He normally give us the option to choose. So it is more like you're looking at what this definition we grew up to about literature, that literature is a mirror of life. So he tried to create a mirror for us. Now he mirrors the present situation around him, particularly Gukuyu and Kenya. He mirrors that present situation and give it to you. Now it is not left for you to not decide. If you look at his work, he's not conclusive. He's always leaving us in that dilemma on what's next. Are you going to go with this? Are you going to go with that? But this is the current situation, naturally. And that is why I feel it was, like he said, like my twin, let me agree with him now. Let me just agree with him. Okay. Like he said now, that, like he said that, sorry, I missed it. So, like, Ngugi is trying to tell you that, okay, in our Marry Where I Want, let's tone it down practically. Now, Marry Where I Want, you see the characters there. Is that, okay, this is colonial era. Now, this is post-colonial era. The issue there is that, okay, we've tried to preach some message in the River Between, whether it be a Messiah or there is no Messiah, then the war happened.
Okay.
Right? Now, in our Marry months, the war have happened.
In fact, the war has been fought.
The war has been fought, and this is us.
Yes.
Now, the basic issue that I try to raise again, this time around, is that the same thing before the war is still happening after the war.
Thank you very much, Kenny. And that will lead to my next question for Ludovic. Is Ludovic online? So Ludovic, hi, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Ludovic.
Good afternoon, Ludovic is online.
Good afternoon.
Okay, he's online.
Can you hear
Can you hear us?
Clearly.
Yeah, I can
Clearly.
hear you.
Yes, can you hear us? That's Ludovic. Ludovic, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes,
I can
you
hear
can.
you. I can hear you.
Thank you. So the moderator has a question for you. So yes, live online, please. Thank you. That's Ludovic.
All right. Ludovic, long time.
Yeah.
Can you see me? I can't see you. They're hiding you somewhere, but that's not a problem.
I can see.
No problem. Okay, no problem. My question is this: I asked these guys here about the idea of Ngugi evolving his kind of characters, okay, in the river between and I will marry when I want. And Kenny raised, both of them, they raised a very important point, which I would like to use to ask you the next question from here.
Okay.
Kenny, in his words, said that Ngugi has used the idea of war, let's fight, to the extent that even the character in the river between, who is Wayaki, who does not buy that idea, ends up losing. Okay? Then that means what happened at the end of the day was that, okay, they fought the war, they got the independence that they were asking for, and now this is where they still are. They are still having the same issue in I will marry when I want, that which is a post-colonial text. They're still having the same issue. Now my question is this: there's something to note. Okay, there's something to note. In the character of Wayaki in the river between, what Ngugi is doing there is to project that character and his ideology, okay, on the readers. And on that time, that, education can bring about liberation. Then 12 years after, okay, we see the character of Gikamba, who is also revolutionary, just like people like Wayaki, Karega in Petals of Blood and the likes of them. But Gikamba is not talking about education. Gikamba is talking about wages. Gikamba is talking about economic system. Okay, can we say that Ngugi has also changed his idea of getting liberation, which he thinks can be through education with the character of Wayaki, to asking what we can call the right question that Gikamba is asking, talking about we are the ones working. The industries are there. And in one of his words, he even said the industries cannot produce these things on their own. If we don't go to work, nothing is going to come out. If we don't work. And at the end of the day, what we get is just 2% of the 100% that we're actually working for. Okay? So can we say that this is a form of, development in Ngugi's choice of writing when it comes to his way of asking for liberation, which was 12 years ago, education, and now in our Marry When I Want, wages and industrial revolution and all of that.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aijinnahen S, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks to my friend and LABAF for this invitation.
Ludovic, are you in the village?
Can you hear me? I can hear you clearly.
We can hear you.
Okay. So, from the context of the discussion, I don't think Ngugi actually involved in his discussion of the thematic issue which was discussed in the two.
And now we can only see his lips moving.
Because the issue of economic disparity in the text. I might when Kibunga was actually insistent on the issue of wage increase and the likes. Also, in the second text, which is the river between, there was also discussions around economy. That's the economic issue. That was the issue on tax collection. The
colonial masters, when they were in Africa, there were so many instruments which they used in exploiting the people. And of course, people at different times use different contexts to seek for their freedom. You know, if you look at I will marry when I want, like with said, that happened during the colonial master. That was during the colonial period. And then the other text, which was never the king, was actually after the colonial period. So
I don't think that's the arrangement. I think the difference between is colonial and I remember when I want is post-colonial.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
The one between was during the colonial, and then I marry when I want to after the colonial master. So the aspect of education was, I think, to me, I don't think it's actually about revolution, because during that period, education, of course, was very important, and the colonial master were very harmful, and then they were using it as an instrument to win over the pagans, as they, of course, are taught. So this guy, Wayaki, now trying to use that as an instrument to win back his people, from the white. I don't think that is actually about revolution. I just think that is about what was happening during that period. So, but every time I'm trying to say that what education does during the colonial master was very important. So it was just used as an instrument. It was not used to I remind when I want, does not mean that Ngugi has actually resolved. Because all of the things that we are discussing in the two texts were actually the same, just different characterizations. The issue of economic disparity, social conflicts, rifts, the use of divide and rule. All of these tactics were tactics that were used by the colonial master, and all of these were common in the two texts. So education was used in River Between, because River Between was a text focused on the colonial period. And between the colonial period, education was an instrument which the colonial master was using to rule over the people to their side. So this guy, Wayagi, also has to deploy an instrument to also ensure that the people stay back. So he also has to use education to fight back, against the colonial master. And then in the other text, that's I will marry when I want. Education was not used, because in that case, there was no struggle or any form of enticement in the aspect of education as an instrument or whatever. Do you get it? So the reason why
before you go too far, Ludovic, you said there is no struggle in I will marry when I want.
I said there was struggle, but
okay.
In I will marry when I want, the struggle does not revolve around education. So what I'm trying to say is that Ngugi did not necessarily evolve in this discussion. The reason why education, because I'm raising this because you actually mentioned education. The reason why education was the focal point in the River Between was because of the context of the period. That was why education was the focal point at that period. Education was being used as an instrument by the colonial masters. So the Wayaki also has to deploy instruments to ensure that his people were won back. So it does not generally show any form of revolution in the characterization or the plot development by Ngugi. So that's what I'm trying to say. I hope you get the information I'm trying to pass.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ludovic. Thank you very much, Ludovic.
Okay.
Before we go to the next question, I think Taiwo has something to say.
Okay.
Okay. While you were talking, Ludovic, I think I get what you're saying, and like you said, the focal points of what he was saying in the two texts actually changes intensity based on what was needed there. But I think there's what we call caliber prospero concept in literature. Caliber prospero concept that has to do with the allusion to the Tempest. Everybody read Tempest, right? So the caliber prospero concept was what Ngugi was trying to say. Learn their language, learn their method, revolt. When you revolt, it makes sense, right? And the major things it said, and it points out, and I think all agree, was the concept of economy. And it uses economy as a way where the British use as a weapon, aside education. He uses the economy. He says, oh, you people think you are rich, you are that. When you see somebody that is richer than you, you submit to them easily. It's just like, oh, I am an Otedola son. No matter how little I am, even if I'm a toddler, and I crawl to this place, people will give me a round of applause. Or I told you I'm a nephew to Dangote. So it means that no matter how wrong you see, you won't. Look at Kaboi. What we see in Kaboi, that's why I will not blame Kaboi. Kaboi was a man under Joshua's rule in Rivers Between.
Yes.
He was enlightened. He was educated. Wayaki said, I am so surprised, even you, Kaboi, that's supposed to be on my side, because we are both learned.
Yes.
We know Joshua very well.
Yes.
But you are the one that is heading this case. That is to say, let's see the reason Kaboi was able to win Wayaki. It's simple. Well, let's look at the final judgment before the play escalated. They called themselves to the altar of arguments. Let's debate it out. Teacher, give your point of view.
Yes.
Kaboi, Wayaki, state your own. When
Wayaki's teacher.
Yeah. Kaboi came. He made mention of his point. And Wayaki was like, why didn't you mention Yambora? You did not mention Joshua. You did not mention our visits to the church. What is your trick? Then Wayaki came, changed the heart of, education is everything. We need to learn, we need to be enlightened. And this is what is happening. The regions are connected. Everybody is donating. You did not mention Syria. And the next time Kaboi came. Kaboi now said, okay, you said all this. How about the oath? Have you forgotten the oath? Oh, we want proof. You brought out Yambura. Even Wayaki could not say anything. Why? Because he uses the method Wayaki was preaching. Kaboi knows it. Yeah. He is well educated. He was, according to the play, Kaboi was the right-hand man to Joshua, not just any old man. He's not a boy.
He's addressed as a disciple.
Like a core disciple that Kaboi can lead his own movements, and people will say, no. If Kaboi, Wayaki said to the point that if Kaboi established a church, right, people, it's not even, he established his own people now, his community. It's not that if he established it, they said because of circumcision. Do you understand? It was the circumcision problem that made him leave. Yes. So he established his own that, no, we can become a Christian, yes, but that circumcision must be,
on the issue of Christianity, before we leave that space, one of the internal wars that we fight today as young folks, especially people of our age, I don't know, Gen Zs, right? Are you Gen Z? Exactly. Are you a Gen Z?
No.
Are you?
I'm a millennial.
Seriously?
Sure.
No. I'm from the classic age now.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so one of the wars we fight today is that of being caught between our culture and our religion.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that's one of the internal wars that Wayaki fights in the text. Yeah. One of the internal, in fact, the war that killed Muthoni.
What do you say?
It's that war that killed Muthoni.
Yeah,
okay?
Exactly.
It is not as if she's being totally rebellious. It's not as if she's being totally rebellious to her father. Okay? She believes in Christianity. But at the same time, she wants that circumcision. She wants to feel Jikuyu. She wants to feel that tradition in her. And at the same time, she wants to worship as a Christian. The same thing as Wayaki. Wayaki is not against the culture. Wayaki is not against the religion. Exactly. So he's in between. And that's one of the wars that we're currently fighting today. Majority of us here, that we don't even see. When they were having the discussion on AI, I picked something from there. One of the panelists was talking about how we can gather enough data from our culture. And the moderator said, oh, if you go out and say, okay, you want to learn about Songo, people will say, I cover myself with the blood of Jesus, I do all those things. Because of the fear, we don't want to be caught in those kind of things. Do you understand? Now, the question on Christianity is this. Do we really think, and if you look at Christianity in When I Want as well, okay, it's dominant in the first text, it's dominant in the second text, but in two different ways. Do you understand? Exactly. See the way Christianity is being used in I'll Marry When I Want.
Exactly.
Koi is
trying to pull everything upside down.
Exactly, because of using Christianity as a tool to bring people on his side so that he can get their land, especially Kigunda and all those things. So, what do you say?
I think when we talk about Christianity, according to Ngugi's ideology, Ngugi believes Christianity is two things. Number one, it's capitalist. Christians are capitalists, number one. And number two, Christianity is the sweetest and the most organized religion to him, right? I'm going to use the reason, two things. One thing you see from a capitalist, one characteristic for every capitalist is that they make you see the need to get their product. If I'm selling anything to you, I want to sell a phone. I think there was a time one of my brothers in church, saw a wristwatch with me, a sporting wristwatch, and he's like, I'm an office worker. I go to office. Sell this watch to me. Let me see the need for getting this watch. The first thing I heard was like, what are we saying? Everybody needs to wear a watch now. So which one is sports watch? Which one is another? So it was not like, sell this thing to me. Then I realized that, yes, he goes to work 9 to 5 sometimes, and the only time he had is from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. daily. Then the first thing I have is, you go to work every day, yes, but you need to manage your time. Your time is your wealth. So if you want to be active throughout the day, you need to exercise your body to prepare your body for the day. So the first thing you need is exercise. I will not tell you buy my watch. I will tell you the importance of exercise and how exercise can contribute to your health. And an healthy living gives you more capital, more wealth, right? So that is what Joshua preached. Joshua preached organization. He preached mutuality. He preached love. Then
what about
wait. He preached that. Then after winning their hearts, he will now say, oh, this land that you have, use it for God. Yes, you love God already. He told you about God, how God created heaven and earth, right? You believe in God. And the next thing is, oh, this God that you now love, you need to sacrifice to him. Now you sacrifice your land. How does he do? He said they started with giving them a plot of land. And that plot of land, they brought in active workers that can increase it. And that is for capitalists. Everybody needs a capital. Once I get a capital, I expand this capital from 100,000 to 1 million to 2 billion, then I continue to grow.
Exactly.
That is his point. Never believe Ngugi is preaching Christianity. He is never a Christian.
Quick one to
he is never.
Please, I have a point. I meant to ask
this argument. You see, I Will Marry When I Want starts with a lot of things, and one of the things he used to introduce was the fact that the Christians, Creoles, came to beg for support. Like we said, Ngugi is not changing, he's not revolving. He maintained the same message,
definitely,
but different ways of approach based on the context he's trying to talk about. Now, the Christian came and asked for support for one of their crusade. Like that. They said, hey, even though you don't have anything, you can.
What text is that? Which one?
Like in I Will Marry When I Want.
The poor Christians.
The poor.
Right.
Don't let us say.
Yeah, the poor Christians in the text now.
Don't let us call them poor Christians. I'm just saying let's use Christian. Let's use the term.
Okay, are they?
So they came around to beg for support. So Kigunda have to send them away that.
Yes, now.
I'm in need. You're also in need.
Yes.
Both of us, we are in need.
I can't give you my land.
I can't give you anything. I don't even have. Now I don't even have anything. So go. Now you thought that that's the end, but that's not the end of the exploit about it. You now see when it comes to marriage issue. Your marriage is traditional, it's barbaric. So because of that, you have to do it the standard way. So by doing it the standard way, you have to go in white wedding.
Sell your products.
Sell your products. Exactly.
I think the issue here. You guys don't get my question.
No, we are building on.
I don't think I've asked the question.
Yeah.
I've not asked the question. Do you know?
Yeah, no, we're just building on your statement.
Okay.
So
you just need to know, like, when it comes to religion, right?
Yes.
So I think one thing about Ngugi is metaphoric, right? Although his metaphors are not so far-fetched to your understanding because of his
Taiwo, talking about metaphors.
Yeah.
Now, I will use that to ask my question. That you guys allow me to ask.
Okay.
My question is, I will marry when I want.
Okay.
Yes.
See, let's not lie to ourselves here.
Mm-hmm.
I think he introduced two types of Christianity
He has always been introducing two types of Christianity.
in that text.
Yes.
Okay.
Very obvious, very clear.
Yes.
Definitely.
At the beginning, some Christians came, right, to beg for alms, to ask for Kigunda's assistance. Oh,
Exactly.
we need your land, we need anything that you can give us to be able to build the church and all that. And if you notice in that text, Kioi's wife, okay, there's a part in the text where I think she abused those other Christians.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, according to her. Now, the point is this. While the first set of Christians came to ask for, please give us in the name of the Lord, support the work of the Lord so that the Lord can bless you and all of this. All right, that's one type of Christianity. The other type of Christianity came to the same Kigunda from Kioi, the rich ones, to say, join us. You know, they have their strategy. What Kioi is doing is, join us.
Exactly.
He knows that there is no way they will agree that, we want to join you, without telling them that, see, you cannot join us without first marrying our way. Your wife, someone who already
Exactly. That is
who
already
is-
married. That
like,
is
I mean,
even
they have a kid. Not even a kid, a grown lady
marriageable
together. But Kioi is telling Kigunda and Wagensi that you have to remarry in the Christian way. Right? And for you to remarry, you are going to need so many things. See, look at the pattern. Oh. For you to remarry, you are going to need so many things. For you to get the money to buy so many things, okay, that you will need for your wedding, okay, you may need to sell your land or take a loan.
Exactly.
Then you use your land as what?
Exactly.
As a collateral. He's very sure that they won't be able to pay the loan back.
Sure.
Because he's his boss, right? He knows how much he's paying him per month. Right? He knows how much he's paying him, and he knows that he cannot save from that money. The money is not even enough.
Exactly.
Not to talk of saving from it to be able to pay the loan. So there's no way he has to give up the land.
Exactly.
So instead of coming straight to say, you know what, let us buy your land. He's not doing that. He said, join our religion. Do you understand? So my question is now that, do you really think Christianity here is the problem? Or just a very good comment that came in yesterday after our discussion, where, I've forgotten his name, the man standing there, where he said, Mr. Nakatola, he said, the war is not the black man and the black man. The war is a class war, the rich and the poor. So do you think Christianity is the problem here?
Okay, very, very good one. Let me say something about, like I said from when I started, that Ngugi is a practical person, like a very, very practical person. And I won't say that Ngugi is presenting, okay, wait, first, let me just clear the air. I am not an atheist. I am a believer. I'm not an atheist. And I am not...
We didn't ask now.
No, I just want to... I don't want to go. And I am not a racist or a sectionist, right? Just to clear the air, right?
We didn't ask. I mean,
so I believe in God.
Go ahead.
I believe in
Okay.
God. I'm also a Christian particularly.
Okay.
So now...
That's fine. That's okay.
So let's now come back. Let's come back home. Now, the issue here is not Christianity. And let me tell you something. Ngugi is not even after the Christianity. Do you get? It's not after it. It's the excuse of Christianity. Let me come back. Let me be
excuse of Christianity.
Let me be particular. Let me be particular of I will marry when I want.
Okay.
Now the excuse of Christianity now comes in. Number fact, the frontiers of Christians that you ought to say these are frontiers of Christians, like Creole, like they are the frontiers of it. Now, rather than preaching the true gospel that the Christian all about, now you're even saying that, okay, if you want to marry, this is not God's way, you have to go through the normal process, go and do this. When they know that that thing is going to cost you money, they now ask you to go and do it, waiting in order to exploit you of your resources. Now, the hypocrisy that come out, that's why you always see religious hypocrisy in Ngugi Watiogo's work. Now, you not see the hypocrisy that come out when Gatoni went to later get impregnated by John. John, who is their son. And now you now see the true color of Creole's Christianity, that it is a disguise. How do we even know that it is fake from onset? Is it not because of the revelation that came when Gatoni gets impregnated by John? And how will a Christian, the standard of Christian is that, okay, when somebody, the standard of Christian, according to the little scripture I read, I wouldn't say I'm too vast, I'm not a pastor or anything. The little scripture I read is that the institution of Bible is that the marriage be dignified and the bed undefiled. That's the standard of Christianity. But mind you, in this place, John, their so-called son, went to impregnate someone out of wedlock. And rather than you now saying, reprimanding, that was what Gikunda was expecting. That, oh, your son, you have preached this to me, I've gone and sell my words, I've done it, I've followed what you did. Now, I've now gone and meet, your son have not done something that is bad. Naturally, according to the gospel you preach, you have to reprimand your son. And make sure that the son marry the child that you have defiled, which is the normal standard of what you're preaching. But now the hypocrisy came out. They start saying, no. They now start calling, what's name, Gatoni a war. That she is loose. That was why she got impregnated out of wedlock.
And their son is not loose.
And their son is not loose.
Okay, very good. One last question before we end this session. One last question.
Sorry.
That question will be for you. You can see they've passed me paper. And Kule is always so strict when it's comes
Seriously,
to
we have to treat this thing.
So, one last... Yeah, sir, we will take questions, sir. We will take questions when we're done. Okay. All right, so... All right. Okay, let's go ahead and get the questions from Please, can you pass the mic to him?
I'm interested in the last speaker to let us understand what is the difference between Christian excuse and Christian hypocrisy. Okay. You use both terms.
Yes.
Right? What is the difference?
Okay, very good one. Thanks for the question. Now, the both terms here is, okay, this is it. Many of us, we use Christian excuse. Let me bring it first in the Christian excuse thing. Now, many of us, we try to do things that suit us. We start to preach things that suit us. And the moment that thing does not suit us, we start saying another thing. You know, that's why, I'm sorry to say this, that's why we have different doctrine even in the Christianity. I'm not saying that their doctrines are not good and not that. So it's just like you try to give the things that suit you, and you leave out things that does not suit you. The things that suit you now becomes the good one, and things that does not suit you now becomes things that are bad. But when you now find yourself in the shoe of what you are saying against, what you are speaking against, then you now start giving the excuse that, yes, it was bad before, but now it is good. That's where we come misinterpretation of the same word. Are you getting it now? Misinterpretation of the same word. Yeah, you say, I am black. At the end of the day, you start saying black is evil. The black is good when it suits me. But when it's not out of goodness for me, you start saying black is black. Are you getting it? Now, let's not talk about hypocrisy. The hypocrisy now comes about you knowing the truth and not standing with the truth.
I did not the same thing, right?
It's almost like the same thing. It's almost like the same thing. It's more like synonyms. Do you get? Synonyms are almost the same thing, but they are different. Do you get? Now, the hypocrisy will not be more audible in the fact that, you know that thing is not true from onset. Let me just say hypocrisy in its real sense. You know that thing is not true from onset, but you start saying, just to be known as a good person, you are not saying, oh, yes, it is good for everybody, it is good for everybody, when you know it is not good. Do you get? Now, that is what I'm trying to emphasize. The fact that hypocrisy now comes in, what's his name, Creole and his family. The hypocrisy comes, it is laudable, when Creole knows that the reason why he's introducing Christian marriage was to exploit Kikunda of his land. That's the onset. So he's so hypocritical about it. He now uses the excuse as a frontier. Do you get? So you know the truth, but still you hide under the disguise. But excuse now comes when you are, truth be told, you are ignorant because you have not been in that shoe.
All right. Do you have another question? All right. Yes.
Sorry, I just want to contribute to that question.
Okay.
The difference between Christian excuses and Christian hypocrisy. So I see Christian hypocrisy as when you start making excuses for something. When you start making
I use it the same way.
Excuses. When you start making excuses for something, you are meant to be at the church for services, but you are not there at the right time. You are invited for a particular something to do, and you are making an excuse.
Which one is that? Is that Christian hypocrisy or Christian excuse?
Okay,
that's Christian excuse. Okay.
So I also learned something that excuses are tools in the hands of the incompetent. Okay. Anyone that makes excuses, they are incompetent. And excuses are tools in the hands of the incompetent. They are nothing to nothingness, and those that use them are not wise. So anyone that they are incompetent, they make excuses. Now, hypocrisies. Now, everybody are sinners. Everybody are sinners. Through Christ, we have a new life. As long as you are judging other persons,
okay,
while you also have your own, that's hypocrisy.
Oh, okay.
So thou shalt not judge anyone. You rather pray for them. Thank you.
That's fair. All right. So before we go into the mentoring session, I would really like to ask this question. And Taiwo, please, 1 minute. Okay. Please, 1 minute. I'm going to say the timer. Okay, 1 minute. And the question is this: is based on what Kennedy said concerning the Kio's family calling Gathoni a war after getting pregnant for their son, John Muhumi. Now, I want to bring it home. I want to bring it to our contemporary society today. My question is it that guys and ladies, or let me say men and women, are judged differently when it comes to matters of sexual discipline?
Purity.
Or sexual purity. It's for you. It's for you. In 1 minute. Are they judged differently? Because nobody was even faulting John Muhumi. And he also, for Gathoni to get pregnant, that means John had sex out of wedlock.
No, Holy Spirit.
Right? Uh-huh.
Holy Spirit. It's very by the way. All the feminists in the house, please excuse me on this.
Please be fast.
Okay, when it comes to purity, I think the fact that, like Kenny said, hypocrisy. The fact that Christianity is always like over the...
It's not about Christianity, it's not about religion. Don't take it to religion.
Marriage.
I'm talking about society.
I think
I'm talking about the society.
Okay, I think the truth is that we in the society want evidence, proof. And the only person that can show us based on a biological formation is the lady. But for the guys...
I don't understand. The only person that can show you is the lady.
Yes,
but the baby did not jump there, for God's sake.
No, the truth is that purity, we're talking about purity.
Okay.
The society can quickly judge or point to, oh, you are a lady, and these are the features in your body that needs to show that you are a virgin, right? But for guys, I don't think until maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow, when biologist comes out and say, this is how you recognize a virgin guy, I can ask, virgin, let's even be practical. If you're a virgin, young guys, if you're a virgin in the house, stand up.
Everybody can stand up and say they're virgin. Even the old ones. Imagine.
Daddy can, everyone can. But ladies, I don't need to ask ladies, if you are a virgin, stand up, right? It's something that we can easily test, right? So that is why I think in this current world we are, it's practical. Guys, maybe when we develop a...
So yes or no?
I'm sorry, I want
Taiwo, yes or no? Is it normal? Yes or no?
See, can I say something?
No. Yes or no? Is it normal? You can't say anything. I'm sorry, you can't say anything. Time has gone. You can't say anything. Is it normal? Yes or no?
It's not normal.
It's not normal.
It shouldn't be.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. A round of applause for this fantastic panelists. I know that we are going to have an interesting panel, and it's going to be very tough to move them away from this time because they are discussing two powerful books, The River Between and I Will Marry When I Want.
You didn't allow us to do this.
And I know that the most crucial one...
We barely touch it.
Sorry.
Discussed anything.
And I know that the most crucial one is the I Will Marry When I Want, not the River Between.
Exactly.
Why is everybody not talking about River Between? River Between is everything.
So thank you very much for coming. We're going to take the picture after the mentor class. Can you please just excuse the staff? Thank you, everyone. Now, we're moving on to the one, for every LABAF, when we have this session, students coming together to discuss the book, there's always, please that way, there's always the mastermind behind everything. Someone's going to share some light, someone's going to illuminate some darkness, someone's going to explain explicitly, just like when Mr. Yokoto asked the question, what is between Christian hypocrisy and Christian excuse? Those are the questions that even the panelists is trying, struggling to differentiate between the two. So it is time to bring the mentor who is going to share more light, he's going to explain explicitly to everyone, some things the panelists are unable to answer, to give us more insight about what Ngugi Watungo's work and his literacy. Please join me as I welcome a man who flew all the way from United States. Yes, who flew from United States. England. UK. Oh, wow. Can you see from UK? Who flew from UK to join us today. Please welcome Dr. Carl Bert. A round of applause for him, please. Over to you, sir. So, very simple man. He just give us a line. You just said about him. He's a researcher, scholar on climate change and social justice. A very simple man. A round of applause for him as he give us this. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Hopefully we can have this session as a bit more of dialogue and exchange of questions and discussion and hear more from you. Because in all sorts of ways, I don't want to position myself as the expert on the stage, but I'll say more about that in a moment. Thank you ever so much to the organizers and chairman and Sam for bringing me here to Lagos and to Kora. It's been an amazing couple of days so far, and I'm really looking forward to having more of a discussion this week. I guess this session, As it was explained to me, as we're talking about some of the things about the life of a writer and what it's like to be a writer, and one of the strange things for me in this sort of session is I'm a writer and a reader. I'm happiest sitting by myself with a book in a library or at home, and then when you write things, then they become public texts and people read them, and sometimes you find yourself at moments like this talking to an audience. And this is somewhat out of my comfort zone, but I'm very much looking forward to having a discussion with you. You also get asked to speak on topics which are a bit of a surprise. I should make clear from the start that I'm absolutely not an expert on Ngugi wa Thiong'o or his work. I will talk a bit about where I see some kind of intersections with my own work, but perhaps what I suggest, if this is okay with you, is I will say a bit about my career and my research so far, and some of what I've been writing about in my recent work, and then we can open it up for discussion and questions. And I understand there are students here, there are people who are themselves writers, creative artists, and we can have a bit of a discussion about this world of writing and reading that we're all in, and that this festival, LABAF, is here to celebrate. As I said, I would much prefer this to be an exchange and a conversation. My position and my career is quite different to the sorts of positions that I'm sure you are in, and so I don't want to offer advice or words of wisdom that might be not useful to you or not appropriate or relevant to the context that we're in. So is that okay if I do a brief introduction and then we have some questions? Great. Yeah, my name is Dr. Carl Death. I've said this already. It is Death. You can call me Death if you want to, Dr. Death, but you don't have to. Carl is fine. I am much friendlier than that name suggests. But I am a senior lecturer or associate professor of international politics at the University of Manchester. Thank you very much. So probably we're also in different academic disciplines. I think most people in the room have some connection to English literature or in departments of English literature. Whereas I'm in a department of international politics, political science, in which doing research on and through fiction and literature is sometimes seen as quite unusual. I'm very happy to be in a room of people who want to discuss books and stories and novels. Perhaps one of the reasons why I've taken that slightly different position in the international politics department is my own academic background. I did a history degree first. I then did a master's in post-colonial politics. And I suppose that's where I became first interested in and aware of the work of Ngugi wa Thiong'o and others, working on and influencing post-colonial theory, ideas about decolonization of the mind, and the power of stories and texts and narratives in the political structures, the inequalities and hierarchies that constitute our world, be they colonial, be they racial, be they economic, be they social, be they gendered, and so on. Then I started doing my PhD, which I'm interested in environmental politics and the politics of climate change. And my PhD research was on the World Summit on Sustainable Development, which took place in 2002 in Johannesburg in South Africa. So it was a big UN summit on sustainable development, but it took place in South Africa. When I was doing the research for that, I soon became more interested in South African politics than politics within the UN. It took place at a time, only 8 years after the end of apartheid, and which there were some of the biggest protests against the neoliberal turn that the ANC and the Thabo Mbeki had taken since 1994. So there were big marches in the street against the ANC government and against, in some respects, against the UN as well. And so I was doing research on and in environmental issues in South Africa. I had some previous engagement with, both as a traveler and then having studied some African politics texts and debates within my history degree and post-colonial politics degree. So I've written 3 books, 3 non-fiction books, which I'm very happy to talk about aspects of those, either the writing, the researching, or some of the publishing dimensions of those. The first book emerged from my PhD research. It was on sustainable development. It was called Governing Sustainable Development, and it was on this summit in South Africa. The second book was a broader, more theoretically inclined book on environmental politics in Africa. And then the most recent book, and the reason, I guess, why I'm here at LABAF this year, is called, and I have a flyer which I can hold up and wave to you, it's called African Climate Futures, which does 2 things. It looks at both political strategies for low-carbon futures across Africa, and it also looks at African speculative and climate fiction. And I'm interested in how fictional narratives, stories, are ways of critiquing and engaging with political strategies. So that's my interest in African climate fiction and speculative fiction. I hold it up not to encourage you to buy it. It's an academic book aimed at academic libraries. It's published by Oxford University Press. It's incredibly expensive. It's not designed for people to buy and read. If you have any affiliation with a university library, there are ways in which you can recommend it to your university library. Oxford University Press do a discount scheme for countries like Nigeria. But there is also, the introduction is available free, and some of the articles that I've published are also available free to download online. So if anyone happens to be interested in climate fiction, speculative fiction, or the book more generally, then come and see it, take a photo of it. There's a link on it where you can download the bits that are free. That is also one reasons why I said we could talk about the publishing industry and what it involved, publishing a book, but I also might have quite a different perspective on that from certainly anyone who's trying to write fiction or publish fiction or forge a career as a writer in other debates, because as a writer based in a university, I have a salary from a university and none of my books make any money, certainly not for me. They might make money for the publishers, but they don't make money for me. So we can talk about those dynamics if you want. The things that I would be happy to talk about and answer questions on, or we can discuss, include the process of writing. I think the practice of writing itself is quite an interesting one that many of us reflect on in different ways and different times, what it means to sit down and write and how we do that. In the terms of this book, writing about African climate fiction, I became quite interested in how writers themselves, novelists, it's surprising how many books are themselves kind of meta-reflections about writing and the power of the author and the power of a story. And so those reflections on what it means, the power involved of setting down words on a page and crafting a story is something that I'm quite interested in. There are differences, of course, between writing non-fiction and fiction. I don't write fiction myself. I'm interested in reading and talking about fiction, but I don't write fiction. I write non-fiction, and so we can talk about, if people have questions about what research and researching non-fiction mean in the contemporary world of being a writer, I'd be happy to discuss that with you as well. Teaching is another thing that I spend a lot of my day-to-day job is mainly about teaching, and so we can talk about the process of teaching writing, teaching non-fiction writing, teaching what it means to engage with words, and teaching itself is a form of writing in some respects, and in terms of preparing classes and lectures. The other thing that I guess a lot of people might have interest, particularly anyone who is interested in academic careers or pursuing academic study at higher levels, is the process of writing and researching a PhD proposal, and I get a lot of approaches from people from all over the world who are interested in studying for a PhD at the University of Manchester, and quite a lot of the the advice on writing and how to structure the particular text that is a PhD proposal is something we do quite a lot as well. I should have also mentioned in terms of my career, I've been editor for an academic journal, and that also... I'm very interested in post-colonial theory and as it relates to the authors like Ngugi wa Thiong'o and the bigger ethical, political questions about language, about psychology, about resistance to global power structures. And so if people want to say things or ask things about that, then I'm very happy to do so. But I think I'll leave it there, and if people have got questions or interventions or things they would like to throw out to the room to discuss, I'd be very happy to do so.
Thank you, Dr. Carl. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
Is then a means to getting people to read what you've written. And there are so many different venues and formats for doing that, especially in the age of online publications. I mean, for example, in the book I was reading a lot of short stories, and the short story format is one in which the whole commodification of the output, the story, operates quite differently from in a novel, for example. A lot of short stories are available free to read online, or they're in anthologies that are free to read. And so if you just want to write and have your voice heard or read by people, there are lots of different venues in which to do that online, for example. Then there's the self-publishing dynamic, which is a kind of murky area in which there has in the past been a lot of skepticism or some kind of looking down the nose at self-publishing. It used to be referred to as vanity publishing, and sometimes there's this model in which quite exploitative publishers pay authors to publish their work, and it's never going to be widely read or widely written. However, I think now that world of self-publishing has changed quite a lot, and there are many people whose careers do take off by self-publishing, and then this becomes a way for people to read their work, and it's the door to a viable career as a writer. That is all by way of preamble for saying, in my world, which is the world of universities and the social sciences, I'm in the social sciences rather than the arts, self-publishing really doesn't happen at all. And this is the sort of odd dynamic relationship I have with my work now. I obviously want people to read my work. That's one reason I'm writing, and I write for students and other scholars and people who are interested in these topics, and I like talking about it, and I want people to read and engage with my work. I didn't publish this book either to make money or even for people to buy it, really. It's an academic book published by an academic press that will only really ever be bought in libraries. And so this is a quite weird part of the publishing world. In terms of my career, if you want to progress as an academic and go get a job, and then get a job as a permanent lecturer, a senior lecturer, and a reader, and a full professor, you need to be publishing with the highest respected publishers. And so in my field, this is university presses, and because we live in an unequal, uneven, colonially structured world, these are tend to be university presses in Europe and in particular in North America, which have the most prestige. So my department, my employers, my line manager love it when I get a book published with Oxford University Press, even if it never sells many copies. It's a symbol of prestige in itself. And so that is why I think the academic world, there'll be no incentive to self-publish in the academic world, whereas for, I'm sure, many other people in the room who are trying to build a career as an author, then self-publishing may well be a viable route. And I don't know if anyone else wanted to, for those people in that world, people might want to offer much better advice than I could about what self-publishing means in a different audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So self-publishing is a very, like I said, murky environment. It's tricky. So you pay a publisher your money after you've written a work, he publishes it, and he's going to pack them to you. So is it 500, 1,000 copies? So left for you to go and market them whichever way you can. So how much is your reach? How easily or quickly can you sell off those copies so you can do a reprint? So how much marketing skills do you have? Engaging with your social media handles or traditional marketing format. So it's on you now, unlike when it's published traditionally. Is it publisher who does all the things? He spends the money to print wherever in Nigeria or outside, wherever. He also markets, because as a publisher, he has outlets, which you as a self-published writer may not have. So you run from pillar to post. I mean, I did self-publishing in my first book. I get into to bookshops till today, since 2019. They didn't get back to me and say, okay, we sold X, Y amount of your book, this is the money, and I don't have the time to go and be chasing bookshops to collect my money. So this is the dynamics. But if you know you have enough contacts, enough reach, you have the energy to do that, of course you can. So it's up to you. But there are risks. You may not get your money back at all. So that's why I think the vanity, it vanishes, literally.
Good afternoon, Dr. Carol. I'd say, Okay. Good afternoon, Dr. Carol. I would say I have a lot of questions for you. Please, okay, so far my question is actually toned down to one. I know you would want to like explore to us how the interest of your research comes about. You know, you mentioned a lot of research, how you navigate through this and that and everything. So I want to ask one thing, that is, or what is that thing that triggered your interest into the research, the field that you have? You know, even as a white person you are, and which, you know, the news there is that that's the British are the colonizers and everything, that you dive into decolonization like that, and you even explore it down to decolonization of the mind, which you stated, and coming down here even up to now. So I want to ask, what is that thing that inspired you? And you know, you said you are still diversifying and you still want to go learn more and everything. So what is that thing that piqued your interest into this one? And what is that thing that makes you sustain this interest, that even open your mind? The more you learn, the more you still get this open mind to even explore deeper. And that's one. Let me give you the big part of it. And so far, what has your research, what that impact has it made in your person? Personally, it is not about, like you said, you don't, as an academia, you don't research for everybody, right? You research because of the purpose of research itself. So what impact have it made so far? You made mention of a UN conference you had at South Africa, at Johannesburg also. So what has this influenced, reached out to, and how much life has it touched so far? So let me just tone it down, although I have a lot of questions. Maybe I'll get your contact and discuss later.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those questions. Great questions, and I'll respond to them. But I would also love to have a conversation afterwards, and you can ask me more questions, and we can continue the conversation that way. So I think I've always been deep down the thing that sparks my interest and passion and curiosity for the world is about questions of injustice and inequality. And when I look back, I wonder exactly why I decided to do a history degree as my first degree. I loved history at school, and I loved history at university, but it was my interest in studying history was about those questions of power and justice and inequality. Basically, why is the world like this? Is it so starkly divided by between haves and have-nots? Why do the global 1% or the 0.1% have so much more power and wealth than so many other people? Why are there such stark inequalities between regions of the world? Why is the world so unjust and unsafe and unecologically sustainable for the majority of people and the majority of the world's non-human inhabitants as well? We live in a profoundly unfair and unequal world. I think studying history was academically and intellectually really interesting, but I ended that degree feeling like I wanted to look at something more contemporary and pressing, because I always had, I'm not going to present myself as a social justice activist, but I always had an interest in and a kind of a foot in activist and social movement and protest movement camps and marching against the war in Iraq, and for those sorts of being a member of Greenpeace and other environmental social justice organizations. And so I think that's what made me turn more towards politics. And I think that's the thread that connects my research. Those fundamental questions of power and inequality are the things that motivate me to continue studying. I guess now, particularly, I finished my PhD in. I started my PhD in 2005, so it's been about 20 years that I've been researching in this area, and there are all sorts of autobiographical details to this story, but I would say increasingly my energies and my passion and my activism, if you like, are translated into teaching. I see this as one of the areas in which I can make a change. And I suppose this is also one of the ways in which my work has impacted upon me personally, in that I see the classroom as a very important space of power relations and inequalities and potential injustice, but also a space, this almost utopian space in which some kind of dialogue and reconciliation and transformation can take place as well. This is why I remain fascinated by the university, and for all of its problematic context. I mean, universities, particularly in the global north, in Europe and North America, are pillars of the status quo. They support a system in which English is the dominant mode of intellectual exchange and the knowledge economy globally. They support elite power structures in most of the world as well. And yet the university and the campus and the library and the classroom can also be spaces of emancipation, utopia, alternative, questioning the system, critiquing these foundations as well. And I think that kind of process is really fascinating to me, and talking about that with students as they kind of reconcile themselves to why are they here in a university. Is this to just get a degree and a job and a better salary at the end of it, or is it a space in which they can critique aspects of the society in which they're part of? And I think that's become something that's been even more interesting in terms of this current book, which has been looking at, for a lot, I mean, the crux of the book is really about how stories can either reinforce or challenge the status quo, and the ways in which politics is always material, and it's about our bodies and our bodily needs and food and water and jobs and livelihoods, but politics is also about ideas and texts and stories and narratives, and the way in which these can be used to either challenge or reinforce aspects of global power relations. So, thank you.
My name is Kash Onodili. I am the playwright of The Noble Warrior. And the areas that you have touched upon that interest in your research, power relations, coercion, injustices. It appears to me that on one level, you are admitting that they're best told in stories. But you are not a fiction writer. Have you, because I don't mean to condemn your work, and I'm not doing that, but I'm critiquing it from the point that writing your books the way they are right now, they're not carrying out stories, right? They're carrying questionnaires or outcomes of questionnaires, and they are dumped in libraries, and when our people go to read it, they get they get your heart, but they don't necessarily get our stories, right? We write our stories. Have you actually yourself stepped back and said, you know what, I'll do better if I can tell this as a fiction, working with African authors? Because when I looked you up online, you're working with Caucasians like yourself. What do you know about us?
Thank you for that question. I definitely appreciate the...
Okay, so your ancestors colonized my ancestors. All right, and ever since it's been one trouble to the other. I mean, we just saw 2-3 years back where Mali, Niger, and tried to cut off that umbilical cord from France, all right? And then, yes, we gain independence, but more or less on paper. And you here writing about questioning the presence of injustice, the rich and the poor, the global north and the poor south, the rich global north and the poor south. And then the handwriting of the global north, you know, contested, I mean, it's arguable, right, that the global south that we're in here can't seem to get it right because the global north will not allow it. And so we have this jack-buying process where young men from this global south wants to go to the global north to experience the opportunities that are in there that are not here. And of course, you have conflicts like we have in Congo. I mean, it's a whole, you know. So, and the books are in libraries, so if you're not studying politics, for instance, I can have access to them, like he said. How do you democratize your writing so it begins to do the kind of activism that you're professing to do, right? But can't have the kind of reach that you probably would have loved the writing to do.
Two great questions. Thank you ever so much. These are really important issues that go to the heart of the sort of questions that I'm interested in the book, and also that I wrestle with constantly in terms of my work and the politics and ethics of the position that I'm in. And there's lots of different aspects to them, and I'm going to try not to talk for too long in terms of my response to them. Firstly, in terms of wouldn't it be better to, or as a crude caricature of the question, wouldn't it be better to write fictional stories with a political message in them? Yeah, in some respects, I am completely arguing that stories have a power that go beyond the work of the policy documents or the non-fiction. I think there is a huge power in fictional writing. In a way, the book is simply about recognizing that there are many people who are much better at this than I am, and it's an attempt to encourage other scholars working in the social sciences to engage more with the works of artists and creators, and to see the political implication of the work that many artists and creators are doing. I think that not everyone can do everything right, and my own skills don't lie in writing fiction, although I have tried at moments in my life, and it became quite obvious to me that I'm not so good at that. Whereas I think, such as they are, my skills lie in social science and teaching and researching international politics. But I want to make the case to my colleagues also working in the social sciences that they should pay more attention to fiction, novels, stories, films, poetry, and so on. I think, but also a caveat that maybe responds to elements of both these questions is that I'm absolutely not saying that all we need to do to solve injustice or climate change or social inequality is to read and write better stories. I think that sometimes this argument is misinterpreted in that way, and a suggestion that people can step back from other forms of activism and engagement and just write and read better stories, as if activists, politicians, NGOs, engineers don't themselves read stories. I mean, you can be both an activist and a reader and a writer of fictional or a theatre practitioner and so on. So I'm absolutely not arguing that stories are an alternative for political organising or political engagement. Perhaps one of the bigger questions, at least that I take it from in both yours, which is an absolutely right question, is the question of positionality. I mean, in one sense, what right have I to write a book like this, to engage with these sorts of stories, to write a book called African Climate Futures as obviously a white, middle-aged English man in an academic setting? Is is this a topic in which it's even appropriate for me to write about? And this is something that I've wrestled with a lot over the course of not just this book, but my career as well. Positionality absolutely does matter. How you see the world reflects, where you stand reflects, although it doesn't determine how you see the world. And one of the reasons why I feel somewhat awkward in this position is, to put it bluntly, why should you be sitting here listening to another white man who's come for a few days to Lagos to tell you things? I find myself deeply uncomfortable to be in that position. This is why I started by trying to qualify my expertise in all of these areas to quite a narrow area in which I've done this research on. However, to push, or to at least respond a bit more assertively to some of those questions, I think the novels, short stories, and films which I discuss in the book have been published, and many of them have been published for a global audience. They are intended to be read, widely read, and discussed and interpreted. Many of them absolutely are written in and draw on a cultural context in which is not my cultural context, in which there are many things in these stories that I have not understood and have misinterpreted. There are many aspects of these stories that I'm not, in many senses, I'm not qualified to judge. However, I think by being explicit about that positionality and engaging with them as a white academic English man, and engaging with other work that those authors have written, trying to do so from a position of humility and carefulness, and seeing my work as directed towards audiences within international politics, largely, it has to be said, still dominated by disciplines based in Europe and North America, making the argument that more of my colleagues, more of other researchers should be doing more to engage with diverse perspectives from the global south by fictional authors, I think is a valid and important use of my energies. The alternative, from my perspective, you could, again, to put this rather crudely, is to say, well, I could just stop doing this, and I could just write about authors writing in and from Manchester. When I look around me and my colleagues at the University of Manchester, there's a lot of people doing that already. And I think it's important that our students and our researchers are pushed to engage with more diverse perspectives on the world. And I also push back a little bit against the suggestion, and not that this was implied in either of the questions, but that only African voices are legitimate to speak about African politics, in the sense that this sometimes entails what's called a burden of representation on my African colleagues who are, or British African colleagues who are within the British university system, who feel that or who could be made to feel that Africa and African politics is the only topic on which they are authorized to speak about, and everyone should just speak about where they came from. Whereas I think encouraging more of a spirit of openness and curiosity and global exchange of ideas and travel and reading perspectives from around the world, I think is really important, whilst holding on to the brute fact that we can't ignore those global inequalities and hierarchies of power and knowledge. But I'd welcome other people coming back or pushing back.
A round of applause for that. Thank you very much, Dr. Carr. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the sheer knowledge. I want to welcome the chairman of Kora, Chief Kaida Dunrogo. Thank you for coming, sir. I want to welcome the presence of Mr. Francis Onwuchie. Thank you for coming, sir. I want to welcome the presence of Mr. Right now in the next 5 minutes. So the panelists, can you please join us on the stand here for a picture? Thank you, Mr. Taiwo and Mr. Kennedy, to join the moderator, for the picture. And also the chairman of Kora, if you don't mind, please grace us with this picture. And also Mr. Francis Onwuchie. Okay, Mr. Cash, Onadele, please, for the picture, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. So photographers, thank you. So this is a public announcement. All right, the guy I don't know can open mic, and tomorrow, the Kayode Aderin Poetry Slam, which is